This conference will now be recorded.
No, you wouldn't. I put little humor.
All right, it's 3 o'clock. Today is June 30th, 2021. We've called a special final budget workshop meeting, and I appreciate you all coming in. Fortunately, we do have a quorum, myself, JT Thomas, Warren Davis, and Angela Sullivan is here. Chris and Virginia Stacy has not. I thought she was coming. Maybe she's not feeling well. You see what I mean? I don't know. And Tom Roller's out of town. Essentially, we're going to come down here and try to knock a couple of things off quickly. I've given you a couple of sheets that were copied. One is the version 2 of the budget that we had received. I wasn't sure if everybody had seen it or not, but I have a couple markups on it. And also a copy of something that I had a question about, and we've discussed this with Laura. But let's go right down the thing. Call to order. Looks good. Committee member resignation. Just for the record, Angela Sullivan has decided she is overwhelmed with her responsibilities and will be stepping down, but I'm asking her not to make it official until we have a replacement approved, okay? And our replacement right now has, we've discussed it, I've discussed it with other members of the committee, and is Margaret Feinberg, who was offered
Point of
to
order.
serve.
Point of order. That's improper to announce that at this point in time. There's other things that have to be considered before making an appointment. You got a resolution that says, gives you the way you have to do that. It's done the same way at Pelican. I just done the same, just researched them because they have someone come tomorrow. If we're going to move into that aspect, I would make a motion that we schedule the selection and appointment or recommendation to the board for our next meeting on August 4th. Prior to that time, make a notice to the Board of Supervisors to put it on the calendar or the agenda, because it has to be on the agenda before they can vote for it.
I will
And so-
say this.
I've got a motion. That's a motion. That's a motion. You can't discuss it now unless we get a second.
I'll second it for discussion, but I got a question. We've never done this before. We didn't do this with you, and we never did this with Angela.
That's
Why is it
true.
different now?
And I don't know why. I went back through trying to find why it wasn't done. I don't know. The resolution 2012-15 is very explicit on it. And this, I could give you a lot of adjectives on this 2012-15. I can't believe that we would have agreed to some of this stuff here, but there's just a lot of stuff here that we haven't done and we need to do. And I'm saying all we're doing is postponing the selection until August 4th, which gives us 30 days for people. If they hear about it, they want to apply, fine. If not, we move forward on the 4th to make a selection, a recommendation to the master or to the Board of Supervisors so that they can vote on it on the 5th. So that's 30 days, and we have nothing going on during that time. I don't see a big big deal about that.
The board, can I say something then, Warren?
Well, we have,
rather than
okay,
going
just a
on,
second.
and we're in discussion right now. And I want to say that there was an email sent to both, who was it to Laura and to Georgia, asking them to forward the information that we intended to have a changeover, that Andrew was stepping down, and that it was our intent to recommend that Margaret be recommended for
But
the
that was
position.
not voted on the board. You can't make arbitrary decisions on your own, Joe, and that's what you do
Hang
all
on a
the
second.
time.
We did it with Chris too.
Yeah, I know we did it with Chris too. Here's the thing. Our discussion today is to recommend it to the board. It is not to approve her and then she's done. It is to recommend it to the board. That's what we're here discussing.
This has not been put out in the public. No one knows that Angela is stepping down. And the people of Stoneybrook have a right to know that someone is stepping down and that there is a spot available. I looked through the request here that they're voting on tomorrow from Pelican, and their stuff is pretty much the same. They had one person apply, they approved it, they sent it in as their recommendation, they concurred with it. It was done that way. And according to this, we have to report it to the board of supervisors. They have to initiate a process to solicit requests from individuals desiring to be appointed by the board. It don't take too long to do it right.
No, I agree, but let me say this, Warren, never been done, number one. Number two, and let me finish. We actually went to a board of supervisors meeting with not being on the agenda of that board, and they shoved 3 additional,
That's fine.
members
I
on the
don't,
work
I can't
committee.
argue with that because I don't know about that. All I know right now is that these are the rules. We need to comply with the rules. Now, one of the first things we need to do after we get through this budget thing is get this thing rewritten. This is terrible. This is absolutely pitiful. And I can't believe that if we had anybody on the board, that they would accept that. And this was signed by Neubauer. And I'm thinking, my God, this don't give us nothing to do. This is nothing. There's nothing back and forth. It don't say, oh, only thing it says we do is bring information back.
Is that
to the board
our
of
docs or is that?
no, this is the agreement from 2012 that was rewritten because there was an issue. And one of the issues was they wanted to fire our security company and force a security company upon us. They were going with the low bidder, which would have been terrible. And so we came to an agreement because we absolutely disagreed, and we came to an understanding. And that was probably written by Tony and with input from Gary at the time. And I'm going to say at that point in time, we probably didn't have a whole lot of choice what we were agreeing to.
Well, I'm not sure what all was said back then. All those of us that are new on here can look at this and say, this is the problem. We're supposed to have 11 people on this board. 11 people. Now, who would agree to that? Pelican only has 5.
Did you hear what I just said? They shoved 3 on us. And
I think it might have been more because I was part of that.
No, they shoved 3 on us, and there was an attempt to take over the committee. So we came back and said, listen, if you're going to put 3 in, we're going to put 3 more on. We have names of people. And that sort of swung things another direction. Yes, Margaret?
I believe it got reduced from 11.
Yeah.
I believe there's a resolution.
Yeah.
No, there's not. If there is, they don't have it here.
Well, that doesn't.
This is the last resolution that they have.
Well, the
So
fact
how do we
is,
research and find out if there has been a revised, because
Because I did
2012,
a public record request for this information, and this is what they come up with. This is the only thing they haven't found here, this. And the same way with Pelican. The only thing they have here from Pelican stuff is an on-site contract.
but if you changed it to 7.
doesn't mean
wouldn't
that
there
it
be a
doesn't
new one?
exist somewhere.
Well,
I will
I've heard
tell
you, Joe, I've heard that time and time and time again.
It wasn't.
Someone has a copy of it, oh, I've seen it,
It wasn't
but it's
3.
not there.
It wasn't 3 that they pushed on. It was actually 5. There was a 7-member thing. There was 6 people on board. They're looking for
No,
one
no.
member. Because I was at that
No,
time.
no, at that point in time, we had 5.
5
And
or-
we had 5. They pushed
Well, then they
3
put
on
the-
us, and then we took 3 additional so that the vote would be fair. Because it was.
Did they push 3 or did they push? I think
They pushed
I think they put everybody on. Whoever wanted to do it got on.
That's what happened. That's exactly what
Yeah.
happened with no prior notification or anything. Never been done.
And
That's
that's
all I
when
can
and
tell
that's
you.
when it went to 11. There was never a count to 11. It was because I remember
Well,
sitting in that
yeah.
audience and it
Who
was
would want 11?
We didn't.
it was whoever the chairman at the time
We
was.
didn't.
Yeah.
We wanted 5, but we settled, and I do know that there was a board vote to bring it down to 7. I stood there and discussed this, and they said 11's ridiculous. We don't have enough people to sit 11 places
Yeah.
in here. And they voted, and if they don't have a resolution, I'm sorry, 7's the number as far as I'm
Well,
concerned.
that-
I'm not
that's the
going to
best.
monkey with that.
3 to 7 is the standard. I think Pelican has 5. that
Well, like
they
I
have.
said, so did we.
Yeah.
And that was monkeyed around with by a prior chairman of this board.
Because we don't have any applications from anybody on their credentials on to do that we can base our decision on.
Well, then in your request for information, was there anything in any record anywhere that anybody supplied information or multiple.
Yeah, I supplied a resume,
I know you did.
and that was a month before I was selected. Because I was asked if I wanted to be on this board. I said, sure, I'm here at the meetings, I might as well. So
And
I
I
sent you
asked
a
you.
recommendation, and the next meeting or so was done. I don't know what else you did beyond that. So I don't know, but I think that we need to stay here and we need to correct this. If there's one out there, we need to correct it because there's terms in here. And we need to correct those because nobody on this board except Angela is legal on this board. A two-year term and has to be reappointed or elected, reappointed or elected, either one, 2-year term. And this superseded the resolution supersedes, replaces all prior resolutions regarding the committee and its effectiveness is effective August 2nd, 2012. So we have a lot of work to do to get things corrected so that we're operating above board totally. And I think going from one person in a meeting to another person in the same meeting is not above board. I think to me, it looks like a sham. I know that the person you're talking about is highly qualified. I don't have a problem with that. But it comes down to doing it right.
Well, when it says appointing a new board member or committee member, doesn't it have to be approved finally by the
By
director?
this committee.
Yeah, we have to.
Well, we don't-
We submit it to the. Board of
Don't we appoint
Supervisors.
and then the supervisors agree?
No, we don't appoint, we
We don't
recommend.
appoint, we recommend. That's
We
correct.
recommend to the board and the board goes on that.
So if this is recommending a new board member, should
But that's the board. The board does that.
our agenda say recommend a new committee member instead of appointing?
Yeah, that's probably an error.
I mean, could that have been a misprint?
Listen, we're not going to resolve this right now. I have things I got to get done. I'm going to be out of town and we got to handle the budget, okay?
Yeah,
Let's
and
move on.
I think we should just table this until the August 4th. So I have a motion on the floor to do that.
You have a
No.
motion to table it, you're saying?
I had a motion to move this to
discuss it.
August 4th, and we can table it or just move it to August 4th.
So if
We're
we're
not
not,
gonna lose anything because we can get things done and get it to the board on time.
Yeah, actually, that's not entirely true. Because issues are going to come up and it would have been helpful if Margaret was on this committee because she's probably going to have some issues and things to say at the supervisors meeting concerning some of the
Well,
budget.
she's not a member of this board
At this time.
at this time,
At this
and
committee.
she should not be a member of this board until at least August the 5th.
we're a committee, we're not a board. Okay, so real quick, just because the word says appointed on 3, we would need to change that to recommended. And then I will need to hold back on my resignation if we're not able to recommend someone from this committee.
At this point in time, that is apparently what he's saying.
Okay,
And
So then who picks a new board member or who
The new
picks a new committee
well,
member?
that's just it. It's us. That's what's a little
well,
bit
I'm
ridiculous.
not
right now.
going to leave.
But what
this-
he's saying is a public announcement didn't go out. And then still, to
So-
make the recommendation come.
So we have a public announcement.
Mhm.
Let's play devil's advocate. The what?
Right.
Okay, so a public
It
announcement
says
goes
in here,
out.
CDD, they solicit that stuff.
We get 3 people that say they want to do it. And then who picks who picks that person?
We do.
We do.
We will look at the applications and we will select the person we feel is most qualified to fit that position. We recommend that person to the Board of Supervisors and they do it. They have one going tomorrow for Pelican. Same thing. Got a copy of it here somewhere.
So technically, the only committee members that are really only should be here is really just Joe and I, because we didn't do it like that for Angela. We didn't do that for Chris. We didn't do that for you. Tom Roller was already
I would
on.
venture to say we haven't done it for anybody.
Well, it did it for me because I was on the board when it happened.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there and being at a CDD meeting.
Yeah.
And before that was Tom, Virginia, and McCawka were the only 3 board members that were before me.
Dick Sukowski too.
Yeah. But Dick's not on here anymore.
No,
No.
no.
But no, I'm just talking about who's on here right now.
All right. All right, all in favor of pushing this off till the next meeting? Aye.
I mean, if we have to do it, then yeah.
Aye.
Aye. I think we should,
But that
I think we
means
should have had
that
number, I'm sorry.
We need Gateway to communicate, and however method, how do you want them to communicate this?
So that's up to them. That's up to them. I say someone be at the meeting tomorrow and announce that in the comments that we'll be looking, we just have one resign and we need someone to fill it and move from there.
I don't want to leave a complete vacancy.
No, we understand,
So,
and that won't happen. But
I'm not going to resign
but the
unless I
fact
know the
is,
process has begun.
it'll be interesting because I'm not sure Gateway knows what they do because they've
Well,
never
the
done
only
it.
thing we can do is just announce it at the next board meeting. That's about the only thing we can do.
Mhm.
Say Angela has left, and if you're interested, do this.
But that's
with
not,
an application.
all right.
Angela wants to resign.
I'm sorry.
Angela wants to resign.
Yeah.
She's not
Yeah, we
resigning.
didn't fire her
Right.
because she wasn't doing the good minutes, because she does good minutes for what she has to work with.
Can't you just, or CDD send it to your board, as far as your CAM, and let your residents know?
I don't have a problem with that. The issue comes down to proper procedure of where the communication comes from. Is it coming from Gateway? Because we are a Gateway committee. We are not a Stoneybrook committee. I remind our board of that all the time.
I would
And-
think an email or a letter from Chris or somebody here to the board president saying we have a vacancy, and of course, he should know anyway.
And then we
that
can
would be-
distribute it from there. Is that, you think that'd be acceptable? I'm
Well-
asking Brian.
That, or we can do it tomorrow night at the board meeting and let everybody know
Yeah, let them
that you
know.
wish to step down, then it's public knowledge. Then if you want something to go to your own
Actually,
HOA,
that's really all that needs to be done is them to announce at the meeting, since since technically our board has
I'll
nothing
be
to
at the
do with
board
it.
meeting tomorrow. I could tell them that at that time in the public comments. that
You
this
wanna
is what's
come up?
happening.
you want to come up and announce it, you can right there, the first thing.
Yeah, well, during the first 2 minutes.
In the first 2 minutes is the
Yeah.
time to do it,
Yeah.
correct? Because I intend to be here and I think
Well,
Margaret may
okay,
be.
well,
here
you can do
tomorrow,
it. You're
too.
chairman.
Yeah, and I don't know, this is something you're welcome to do, but I do have some
No,
issues.
no,
about
no, no,
payroll.
it could come from the chair. I thought you were gonna
Okay.
be out of town. So
I won't be until Sunday. I'll be,
Okay.
after Sunday, I'll be gone.
we'll count the days.
All right, let's pull out, everybody has a sheet that looks like this. And I think, Margaret, did you get an email from Georgia? Okay,
And it's the same as what I've got.
exactly, but I'm gonna
add.
oh, you can't change it?
Nope,
It's a PDF is what you're telling
it
me.
is.
All right, what's happened here, there are several things that we absolutely do not agree with. And one of them was the payroll. We had a discussion with, we being myself and Margaret, with Laura yesterday and discussed this. She explained to us their position as a percentage of various employees. We somewhat disputed some of those percentages based upon the fact that when employees of Gateway Services come into Stoneybrook, it's not always concerning the road and the sidewalk. They're in there doing a lot of things. You know, we have lakes, we have drainage problems, we have problems with trees and bushes around the lakes and lake remediation. And unfortunately, I think it wasn't apparently clear to everybody, again, we had to discuss it, that we do pay, unlike another community here, the same as everyone else, that basic charge that goes directly into the 001. And certainly some of that goes toward these payrolls. And we need to get maybe another discussion, but we're going to bring it up to the Board of Supervisors to discuss reducing some of the percentages on some of the employees we'll be getting charged for. Now, one of the things that Laura mentioned is that the numbers that are here are based even on an employee that doesn't exist yet. And which is the vice chairman of Gateway. And if she were to get that position, which is a possibility, then her existing, there's nobody filling her spot right now. So in any case, the number could be overstated, and that may not be what's going to wind up to be, which is the 26, and everything else in that column for expenditures is essentially keyed into that payroll, so that all those other numbers work out to be As that comes down, everything comes down.
What percentage were they talking, what was she talking about?
Do you have that? Most things were 5%, and there were a couple of people that were 10%, at least one. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're not paying for any, I keep getting second wrong, excuse me, Brian. But for Kenny Hall's group, we're not paying anything for his stuff, because he does all
I know.
the unit stuff that comes.
So we're going, we had a
Your
budget for
section.
8,000 and they want to
Be
take it to
me, be
26,000.
Jim, be L, my staff. I think it's 5%.
Yeah.
For everybody,
Me, L, and Jim.
okay. And then what about the office out here?
I think they're 10. I don't know.
Huh?
George would
The
have,
only one that's 10
Georgia might be 10.
is Georgia.
George would be 10. I think the rest of
Everybody
us are
else is 5,
Okay,
okay? District manager is 5.
Yeah.
And Julie is 5. Now, the issue comes down to
How much
some
per-
extent,
how much for Laura?
well, she's the
Business manager.
business manager. She's 5. Everybody's 5 except
Okay. Well, I think we're,
Georgia.
Georgia. Yes, 10. And the question is, of that percentage, is all of that time that is spent on Stoneybrook specifically on things that should be coming out of the 004 budget? I can see that with Pelican, but with us, we pay directly into the 001 fund. And let me go just a step further with that. Because there are issues that should be getting billed to the enterprise fund, there are issues that should be getting billed to whatever other funds there are that are paid out of the 001. Other communities, certainly they spend time on. We're not the only one.
Yeah.
And obviously, they consider the time spent there as being 001 money. And I think that some of this is 001 money too. We got to make them aware of our opinion on that.
now that is just so I'm clear. They don't bill us 5% every time they go out somewhere. It's just 5% of the
No, what
total
it is,
salary.
it's an approximation. And what, let's say in a 40-hour week, they're saying that person's spending 2 hours on your fund money,
Yeah.
on your specific, in your community that we own and help you manage.
Right. That'd be difficult trying to have Brian have his people at the end of the day say, I can remember doing this when I was working.
It's
5% on here,
It's a rough-
5%.
It's a rough approximation,
Yeah,
no
okay,
doubt about it. And rough enough that I think we got to ask them, the Board of Supervisors, because that's who it's going to be up to,
I'm trying to
how
think,
that's broken down.
I'm trying to think of those items that you handle the lakes too, don't you, Brian? So that's a big thing. That's the air.
No question,
stuff,
and that's the
yeah.
point, and I agree. You're on the right track with what we're
Yeah,
talking
okay,
about. Your
okay,
same
we're
thing
off,
with
yeah.
Elle, because Elle doesn't come in and handle
No.
004 things like she used to in years
No.
past. She really doesn't. Margaret, you had something?
I just wanted to make a comment that this previous years, we had only done 5% for the public works, the natural resources, and the receptionist. And now we've got 5% and 10% in other categories that we've never been, it's never been shared cost because we pay into the 001.
And in the previous year before Georgia picked up handling us, the 5% from Julie would have been Georgia, because she was doing some of Georgia's functions at one time besides. And supposedly, we were told that she handles the billing and some other invoices, so that's where her time is.
I think one thing, and because you had talked about that over coffee one day, and I'm thinking, how does some of these people get involved? I think one of the problems comes down is when Chris was in here, we'd be going through stuff, and then we'd say, well, Chris, can you handle that? And it'd be something the 004, and we did that a lot. And now with Brian in here, now I doubt if we'd be doing that much with Chris now, because we got Brian in
No,
here.
we hardly ever talk to Chris anymore.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So I don't know what he does directly for us.
That should be,
Brian. Yeah.
supposedly she claims that he still does, but I don't know, but I think that's where the distinction comes from. He may
We
be
can always
doing
ask Brian, do you go to Chris a lot? On the things that we bring to your attention?
If it's important, yes.
5%?
of his time. Yeah, I know.
You get my 2 hours right here. I mean, you're done the rest of the week.
No, well, sometimes the meeting recess for 2, normally it's an hour or less.
No, I mean, it's just, you know,
Is that what you're gonna talk
But
about?
we only meet once a month, though, don't forget.
That's what
Normally.
You're gonna discuss that tomorrow night with the board.
That's my intent.
Okay.
So I want, because there's nothing we can do here about that. I just wanted to bring you up.
I don't come up with those numbers.
Well, we
That's
can-
from Mark saying.
I just
we can-
wanted to bring up to you what the theory and the philosophy is. So let's move down to the
Can I
next
ask
one.
a question before we move on? When I look at this 8, is this what you think that should have been? And we have an 18,000. Is this amount supposed to be in the 001 form? I'm trying to figure out if I'm understanding you right, saying that this is really what should be here and that
No.
extra amount should be in the 001.
Don't overthink it,
Okay.
Angela. The 8,000 that I wrote down there would have been my suggestion. That's what my suggestion
Okay.
would have been.
I thought it
These
was a
are notes to
discrepancy on
myself.
2 different amounts going to 2
What did
different.
we put in that amount when we first did the budget? Is that 8,000?
I believe that's what I
Okay,
suggested.
okay.
I believe, but that was ignored and they come
That's
up with a
giving
new
them,
formula.
well, that's making those staff people awfully important, paying them 5%.
Well, we need them out there that are doing more in Stoneybrook, I guess. Brian wouldn't mind.
Your traffic engineer study, yeah, 5%.
Yeah, that's another one. I'm not even going there now. All right, let's go down to landscaping. We got some numbers on landscaping because, and I don't have the new contract. I think you have it. But I understand for the next year, without the pine straw, it's about 113, 114,000. That sound reasonable?
Well, I don't have
it in front of me for stuff.
Okay.
I have that breakdown.
And then I
It is
believe
without
in-
pine straw because I didn't do
Yeah.
pine straw for
No,
Gateway as well.
no.
What we're doing is
And we
putting a
have-
separate line item just for
Okay,
pine
thank
straw
you.
if you want.
We have just an exhibit,
Do you want
the
this back?
landscaping and irrigation
Oh,
that year 1, which we're in right now, is 112,000.
Exactly.
And then year 2 is 117 and then 121. That's for the contracted.
Okay, so what I'm suggesting, and let's see, landscape services, is to bring that 140 down to 120. And we discussed that with Laura and she thought that was an appropriate number. Okay? So that would be a $20,000 reduction for next year on that budget. Everything else there, irrigation repairs, landscape, plant replacement, we'll leave there. That gives us some flexibility for doing a couple of things. We can move that money around within the landscaping budget if necessary. Because somewhere along the time, remember, we also stopped the contract for tree trimming.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that on a as-need basis and hopefully on a per-day basis. So we need a little bit of money here just to play around with that.
Brian, what was the cost per bale that Mainscapes, when they did the,
I don't have a per bale, but I know your last go around was almost $5,000.
okay, so they were charged, because on the contract price they had before that was $7 a bale.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but I know your last go rounds we just
They
did, it
were
was
all- they
almost
were
like,
awful
almost like
high.
5,000.
And they were ready to charge us again, by the way.
Oh, yeah, well, I think if we do it again, I think we need, another thing we need to bid out because,
We
I
do.
don't know.
We will have to bid that out. I agree.
yeah.
And I think you're gonna be a little surprised at what some of the bids initially might come in at, simply
Yeah.
because
I know-
there's a claim of shortages out there.
I know well, yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
problem. I know ours has been $545 a bale for a couple of years.
Well, we might give them a shot. We'll see.
But we've always argued with them on the number.
All right, so, but that's the number I want to go with. 120, Margaret, I assume you got that. I don't know how you can enter it. Got to be write it down manually.
I I've got the,
Okay,
because these, basically, that was what we had discussed before yesterday, but the
correct,
5 to 35 and the 140 to 120.
correct. The utility fees. Yeah, we have some issues on the water bills. And we came up with 45 because they were projecting 44 for this year. Well, it turns out there's a couple of things that we don't quite understand. And we know there was an issue with a substantial leak that happened back in March. And Warren emailed into Gateway Services. And I think that was a little after 4 p.m. if I recall. Yeah. And what they did was they emailed Mainscape. And by the time they did that, Mainscape doesn't work on Friday, apparently, didn't work on Saturday, Sunday. Monday, they came out and did something. Meanwhile, that 4-inch line was running nonstop and flooding the area between Ivory Stone and Stone Valley, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ivory Stone, Stone Valley.
Stone
yeah.
Valley.
Because it
And
flooded that area back in there.
I do not have numbers on how much water is going to be in there. And we're going to ask, and I've been in communication through email very briefly with Leslie for some consideration on that. And in fact, I have to say that Gateway dropped the ball on that one, because your procedures are to, if they get notification of a leak, maybe they underestimated the leak you were reporting. I don't know. You might have been a little bit more definitive and, oh my God, it's leaking, kind of thing.
We got Old Faithful out here.
It was ankle deep.
Yeah, we're building the ark right now.
Yeah, about up to 100 feet back into the path.
Yeah, but in any case, they should have come out and shut that water off. That would have been job one. That's what the procedure says to do. Didn't happen. The water ran for 4 days. In addition to
We didn't
that,
know where it was, we could have shut it off ourselves, but we were, I've shut a lot of waters off. I didn't know where that.
What we need to do is just hook our lines into the lake,
I don't
keep it
think
all
it
within
made
the
much
lake anyways.
all right. So there is something else though we've queried about now. And you've got a copy with, it looks like this. Mine is yellowed in. All right. And what you got there is there's a utility fee charge. I don't know if this is something that is miscoded with something else, but we got a utility fee charge. Now, it says February, and that would have been February of this year. But Laura tells us that's the due date, not when it actually happened. It's not like the end of the statement. I
So
thought
it
when
would
they
have
give
been-
a date, they're giving
It would have
a,
been November, December,
possibly. Or, yeah, I don't know.
if that's the due
Well,
date.
hang
or-
on, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, but that's something, we're
or
gonna get an
December,
answer on
Or
that.
December,
But it's
January.
$12,783. I don't remember there being a major leak or problem. Maybe somebody does. I do know there was an issue on Jewelstone at one time, but I don't think that was that recent. I think it was further back. I'm not sure. So I'm waiting for an answer on that. But my point of bringing that up, irrigation, which is, I think, is very high because of the fact of these extraordinary circumstances. With that said, I want to bring at least the utility fees under landscaping, which is irrigation, down to $35,000 from $45,000. Everybody got that?
Yes.
So that'd be another reduction of $10,000. All right? And hopefully, now keep in mind, this isn't what we're going to spend. This is what we're budgeted for. Hopefully we'll come in under budget.
I wonder, how long do the irrigation run on Pebblestone? Each section, how long do they run?
I'd have to
Pebble
ask-
Brook?
I'd have to ask,
Pebble Brook.
Pebblebrook, yes, I'm sorry.
I'd have to ask Juan, but I know you're scheduled every day except for one day a week.
Yeah, they alternate around, but they
Correct.
seem to run a lot. I'm wondering if we could cut back on that. That would save, because boy, it sometimes gets flooded.
Well, sometimes I think it's not set up right or.
Are they even being run right now?
Oh, yeah.
They're
I
on
don't
there?
think they
I
have.
mean, we should turn them off
They
right
should,
now.
they should be off right now or reduced. That's
Yeah.
something we need to talk to Mainscape about. I'm not even sure who our contact person is. We want
Juan.
to, is it still
Juan.
on? Okay. We may have to do that.
Are you guys watering
We
right
need
now?
to discuss on
We
that,
have to
not
water.
at this meeting, but
If
another.
we don't
meeting.
water
Oh,
this
I think we
thing,
need Juan to come
backfills
into
his
Stoneybrook,
poo-poo
sit down
plant,
and have a
that's on
talk
us.
with him.
Well,
And also
We have to get rid of that
introduce
flu
him
one
to the
because it's
staff,
planned.
because Lucy
So
should
we
know
have to
one,
order
I think, and know how to get a hold of him.
Well,
Our county's on.
I think we need to have
Huh.
a contact from
Let me
us
tell you all about it.
that we can contact him too. because
Yeah.
some
Oh, I
of us
agree.
do Some of that stuff a lot quicker than.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's something for another day.
Yep.
So you have to.
But in any case, if you look at, and Laura did go back, now there's 2 months here, 2 bills, that's actually 4 months. And she went further than that. Those numbers are pretty consistent. Then all of a sudden it got crazy, with the 12,000. I don't have more recent bills than that, so I can't tell you.
But they're talking, well, it could be 2 months, because it goes December,
They're all
it
2
would be 2 months. would
They're
be
all
2
2
months,
months.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think Leslie would be the one to have that information. She is really up on that. I think she handles.
And that was part of the inquiry.
Yeah,
And
and she's off right now, so.
and that went through Laura, so that is
Yeah.
part of the inquiry.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that you heard, but
I did. I'm
okay. So we're going
you
with
sound
that.
like my wife now.
Put the hat the other way, you'll be able to catch a little bit more this
There
way.
you go. All right, so in any case, we've got 2 reductions there. There's a third place. Public safety services, and that has to do with
Security.
security. Now, security here, if you look at it, it's 195,000, which is a 21,000 increase over apparently what we budgeted last time or what we spent or whatever, I don't know. And we have put out a request for bids. They have been reviewed. It's down to 2 companies, and the numbers are coming in at around 175 or just under for the year. My recommendation, and Laura agrees it's more than fair, is to lower that down to 180 to give us a little bit of cushion in case we need a little bit of extra time around holidays or something, and to kick that up, and there's room for it there. So
I agree.
let's put in a 180 on your sheet there. And went that 195 down. And I think we should be okay. Now, that's a reduction of 15,000. So we have, without touching the payroll, we have just reduced it by $45,000, the proposed budget. Which brings and even with other fees and charges, which are in here, but that will probably go down on slightly under the recalculation. We're going to be around 498.25. Everybody agree with that? And see where I'm looking at? Bottom line, total expenditures, I've reduced that by $45,000. Any discussion?
How bad do you think they're gonna nail us on this payroll still? They saw.
Well, that's the high number.
Well, the high number, I did the math on this staff plan with the percentages, comes to $33,219. And we had it in there for 8. So we are,
That's because I believe we're getting charged for things that shouldn't be getting charged in the 004 budget. That should be coming out of the 001. That's essentially where our discrepancy is and has been the problem in the past. Yes, Margaret?
That sheet that I gave you, the numbers on the side, where I actually figured out 5% and 10% on each one of the employees, so you can see what that actually breaks down to as to what we would.
and I just added it up, it's $33,219.
Yeah. Now, let me say this, during this critical time, I'll be gone. That's one of the reasons we're having this meeting right now. And I know that a couple of you will be down there and I'll be here tomorrow, but there might be other things that come up before I get back. We may need to show up and have something to say. Just ask.
The next meeting is what, the 15th?
Well, Governor, since we are in sunshine law and we can't talk amongst each other, are we allowed, am I allowed to individually talk to residents?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, also just to put down the committee and that resident can talk to somebody else.
I think we better make residents aware of how high the current budget looks like.
Yeah, and this is chicken feed compared to the increase they're looking at up the other side.
Oh, yeah, they're
It-
talking,
it's-
last version 2 was over $2,000 per resident. That's an 85% increase.
And you have to remember, when I first moved here, it was a few $100s a year.
Yeah, yeah. But,
Call for 5 years.
well,
You have no
Problem is,
idea
I
what
think-
my budget looks like.
I
I
understand.
Into it every day.
I understand. And I've seen you up there get frustrated when they shut you down. I understand. I do understand.
oh,
And I
it's
know-
fun watching him get shot down.
Up for election.
It's fun watching Brian get shot down, because his face gets red, and I think he's gonna go up there and pound on somebody, but
Let's get
The only
shut
guy was your Littoral guy. That one was that.
no. Well, I like talking about Littorals. Want to talk about Littorals?
No, let's not.
Last time you did, I said that. you said, "Shut up."
5 minutes to
Yeah, we got 5 minutes to go. He's gonna walk out of here. All right, I need a motion to approve the proposed budget as we have discussed.
But how are we gonna make a motion if we don't have the salary correct?
We're gonna make it, because the salary can still change.
Yeah, we can still change.
That can still be changed, but it has to be done by the Board of Supervisors. This is all we have control over,
Okay.
are these subjects
That's
that we're
fine.
talking
So
about.
moved.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
You can still vote. You can say you can still vote.
So, motion passes. The only issue here is how we're gonna turn it into them. If, Margaret, can I ask you as a potential secretary, can you write it down on a piece of paper
Let
and,
me pull up the old spreadsheet. that
And
we
change the
had
numbers on there?
before, and I can email that to you.
okay.
Let me see if I can pull that up. I should be able to.
All right, so those are the two big things I wanted to talk about, but, so as far as the committee member, we're gonna need, Warren has brought up an issue and wants us to go through the public announcement, and so that we can see if anybody else wants to be on our committee.
Then what would be the process to rewrite the resolution moving forward?
We'll talk about that in the
That's
future.
another time.
That's not now. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
You won't be here, Angela.
Okay.
And the fact is,
I'm like, I
on
can give
something
in
like that, all we can do is suggest to them.
Yeah, I've been
Okay,
working
so-
on a draft, trying to cover what we do,
Okay,
and it's.
well, you're probably expanding the authority of, it sounds like, of the
Not
committee.
really. No, not really. No,
Right.
no.
All right, one of the things we didn't do yet is the previous minutes. We should take a look at that.
Move to approve the budget workshop minutes.
Well, do you want to ignore some spelling here or what?
I'm not a speller.
Just glance at it first before we approve it, because otherwise these become permanent.
I give my stuff to other people to review spelling. I can't get it.
There was something here, I'm having trouble finding it, that jumped out at me the first time. Oh, I do want to add in, and there is a discussion here about a cypress tree over by the lake, by Stone Tower. It actually is not a cypress tree, it's something else. And it probably will be taken down during lake restoration. So we're going to kick that can down the road and let that go for now.
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, so I'm just bringing it up because, so that you know.
Round 3.
Well, it's coming down.
See, this storm drain to work out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see you didn't take the other trees down and you're gonna pave that, is this gonna be a semi-annual event or what? 3 years? You're probably right.
Yeah, those oak trees, it's just, it is what it is.
They have some,
I
I did
didn't-
some nice swimming lanes over
Can-
there on
can-
Gateway now.
I didn't know how much
Yeah,
damage
they
they
got
did
flooding
on
those
those sidewalks,
ones.
the ones
Yeah.
getting moved.
I know.
That pathway.
I know,
I
it
took my-
really is wet.
I took something down that road not
I
that
think
long
those
ago.
oak trees are sacred cows. That's what they've come down to be.
I didn't know.
But it does look nice, so I won't argue with that. Anybody see anything you want to change?
So bad.
That's scheduled.
We already changed it.
Oh, I remember where it is. Page 1, number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth dot at the bottom where it says 157,900 with Ally. I think they mean Allied, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. So on that page one of the May 18th meeting, it's Allied. Contract for 20,000 was 157,900 with Allied, kick it up to 195. Obviously, we've changed it, but if we can get that changed, that's the only thing that jumped out at me. Unless somebody else has something.
I made a motion. Need a second.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, so we got Warren making a motion to approve both minutes? Both,
Yeah, both are fine with me.
yeah, we're gonna approve both minutes at the same time.
Okay.
The June, let's see.
I would do it separate.
All right, fine. We're going to approve that this motion was made for the May 18th minutes. Everybody in agreement? We got a second from Angela. Warren was, made the first motion. All in favor? to
Aye.
approve?
I'll make a
Motion
motion, I'll
approved.
make a motion to approve the June 2nd minutes.
Okay. Anybody have anything there? A second? Who was that? All right. So the motion was made by JT. Warren seconded the minutes for June 2nd. Anything there that jumps out at you? I can't say anything good to me.
I was not here, so I probably won't even be voting on this one.
Okay.
And I apologize for not going.
All right. So, well, do I need 3 votes? 4 votes or 3?
4.
But 3 out of 4 will be enough. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor of approving the minutes from January 2nd? June
June
2nd?
2nd.
And I'm gonna abstain.
Abstaining, I say aye. I approve.
Aye.
All right. Other than JT, everyone else approves. JT is abstaining. He was not at the meeting. So we've got that thing done. The budget discussion is done. Meeting time. The district is changing its operating hours and shifting a half an hour?
Yes, we're closed.
Okay, so they'd like to move us up.
Move us back.
Well,
2 o'clock.
earlier. Yeah, that's up to me, but all right, whatever, however you want to see it, Phil. The issue comes down, how do we feel about that? And any recommendations? Is that time good? Is there another time that might be better?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Then it comes
I
down-
mean, for me, it's tough with my kids picking them up at school.
What, at 2 o'clock?
Well, they get picked up at 3 at ECS, but problem is sometimes it cuts my day.
Because you're working. I know.
Are we early people? Could we do it in the morning?
Hey,
Could we
So-
do an 8:30, 9 o'clock meeting?
that'd be 9, the office don't open till 9 o'clock. The lobby opens at 9, but
I think the lobby's opening up at 8:30.
Could we do it in the morning so it's not a break of the day?
Huh?
I know my vote doesn't count right now,
or
but
10 o'clock in the morning,
10
fine too.
would have to
10's
be.
cutting, like, that's taken.
One
I'm
of the
retired, I
things,
can go any day.
we have to find out if it's available. We can't assume that.
Right.
Margaret, do you have an opinion on that?
Anytime is fine with me.
Okay.
I
I wish we had other members here today.
mean, we can discuss it. We can't.
Well, I think
discuss it
they
by
like
email.
us. I'll tell you what we can do. How about this? How about we say yes for 2 for next meeting? And then at that meeting, hopefully we'll have things straightened
Look,
out.
if school's not even going on, I'll probably be on vacation anyways next meeting. I'm gone like,
So your preference would
Majority.
be earlier in the morning,
my preference is early in the day, get it done, boom.
like 9 o'clock or something like
That'd be
that?
fine with me.
Let's-
Yeah.
Let's start off, because when it's at 3 o'clock, it's
I
almost
know,
like
it's
a
middle of the day. I absolutely understand.
like I had things I needed to do today, and at 1 o'clock, I'm at that point of, okay, well, I can't do it because I gotta be here at 3, so now I've got 2 hours.
Okay.
I was like,
I get
I
it.
hate waiting around.
Let's have, for the
Right.
next meeting, to satisfy the district, call it 2 o'clock, all right? And that meeting, anybody have the date on that? Andy?
August 4th.
And I-
August 4th.
Go right now.
Okay, so we'll approve the August 4th meeting at 2 o'clock. Aye?
August 4th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Take care.
I would check and see if 9 o'clock would be available, then we
We'll do that
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
4th, okay? And not commit, but on the 4th, it's going to be at 2 o'clock, okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Now, can you
And,
have
how do
any,
you feel about that?
Moving forward, I wouldn't be able to be.
I know, but we're going to say for all effective purposes, you are here right now.
Right now, I wouldn't vote for 10, but that's because
No, we're
I
voting for
work.
2.
Right.
For the next meeting.
So
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Joe,
The motion was made by Warren, by the way, and
I-
Angela seconded.
I don't know, you guys are the same as the board, but you dropped another member, so you're down to 3. Can you vote on stuff with 3?
Well, this is, I don't think this is,
Still
vote. Yeah,
No, we're not.
You gotta have more, you gotta have 4
We're fine.
attendants.
we don't take a vote. They wanted to, we'll try to.
We'll show up at 2 next
Yeah.
time, okay?
I'm just saying, I don't wanna
Yeah,
get,
no, you're right.
don't wanna get you all in
That's
troubles. I know Tony had
That's
that
why I
time,
tried
we
to
had
get
2
an
people leave.
answer from him on the way out the
Okay.
door.
You are.
He nodded his head too.
Yeah, he did nod his head. I
forgot how
agree.
many people.
You gotta have 4 in attendance, I've
Yeah,
been
you're
told.
right. So with being knocked down to 3, we're going to adjourn the meeting.
Do we adjourn?
The next-
We have to sit here till we get a 4th in here, don't we? Okay.
I nominate Margaret. How's that?
Your meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, the meeting's adjourned at 3:51.